grows a nose? Long, long ago, the elephant had no trunk. It had only a bulgy nose as big as a boot. He would wiggle it from side to side but couldn't pick up things with it. There was a baby elephant called Golu. He too had no trunk but only a bulgy nose, as small as a boot. Golu was full of questions. He asked his tall aunt, the ostrich, why don't you ever fly like other birds? See, many years before, we can see the elephants were not having the trunk as they are having now. Instead of the trunk, they were just having a bulgy nose, a huge nose, and it is as big as a boot. And with that nose, they were always wiggling. That because of the heaviness, this nose were always wiggling, moving from side to side, and with that nose, they were not able to pick up things like now. And there was a baby elephant called Golu, and he was also having a very bulgy nose. And the specialty of Golu is that he was full of questions. He always used to ask questions. And one day he asked his tall aunt ostrich, why you are not flying like the other birds? Then he asked his tall uncle, the giraffe, what makes your skin so spotty? He asked his huge uncle, the hippopotamus, why are your eyes always so red? He asked his hairy uncle, the baboon, why do melons taste like melons? The ostrich, the giraffe, the hippopotamus, and the baboon had no answers to Golu's question. Golu is a naughty boy, they said. He asked such difficult questions. So already I have told you, Golu is full of questions. He used to ask questions. He used to ask questions to giraffe. Why your skin is spotty? Why you are having spots in your skin? And to hippopotamus, he used to ask why your eyes are always red. And to baboon, to monkey, he is asking why the melon is tasting like melons. So these animals and birds were thinking that Golu is full of questions and he is such a naughty boy. He asks such difficult questions. One day, Golu met the myna bird sitting in the middle of a bush and asked her, what does the crocodile have for dinner? The myna said, go to the banks of the great grassy Limpopo River and find out. So one fine day, Golu met the bird Myna. And Myna was just sitting in the middle of a bush, and the Golu asked her, do you know what the crocodile is having for dinner? Then the Myna was wise enough and told Golu that you just go to the banks of the great grassy Limpopo River. You can find crocodile over there. Go and ask him out. Golu went home. He took 100 sugar canes, 50 dozen bananas, and 25 melons. Then he said to his family, goodbye, I am going to the great grassy Limpopo River. I'll find out what the crocodile has for dinner. He had never seen a crocodile and didn't know what one looked like. He met a python and asked him, have you ever seen a crocodile? What does he look like? What does he have for dinner? So now Golu got the information from Myna that you just go to the Limpopo River and you can find the crocodile and you will come to know what he is having for his dinner. Hearing that, Golu went home and he took his meals. He just took 100 sugar canes, 50 dozen bananas and 25 melons and just bid goodbye to his family and told them that I'm going to the grassy Limpopo River to find out the crocodile and to find out what the crocodile has for dinner, because he has never ever seen a crocodile before and didn't know how it looked like. And on the way to Limpopo River, he met a python and asked him, have you ever seen a crocodile? And how does it look like? And what does he have for dinner? The python uncoiled himself from the branch of a tree but said nothing. Golu politely helped him to coil round the branch again and said goodbye to him. We knew that Golu has asked python that have you ever seen a crocodile? And how does it look like? And what does it have for dinner? But hearing all these questions, the python hasn't answered anything. Instead, he just uncoiled himself from the branch of a tree And seeing this passiveness of Paiden, Golu just politely helped him to coil around the branch again and bid him bye. Golu moved on eating sugar canes, bananas, and melons. After a few days, he reached the very edge of the great grassy Limpopo River. On the bank of the river, he saw a log of wood. It was really the crocodile who winked at him. "Excuse me," said Golu. "Have you ever seen a crocodile?" The crocodile winked again and lifted half his tail out of the mud. "Come here, little one," said the crocodile. "Why do you ask such questions?" So after few days of travel, after eating sugar canes, bananas, and melons in between, finally Golu reached the very edge of the great grassy Limpopo River. And on the bank of the river itself, he was able to see a log of wood, a piece of wood. But it was not actually the piece of wood, it was a crocodile. And the crocodile just winked at him. And Golu asked this crocodile, "Have you ever seen a crocodile?" The crocodile again winked and lifted half his tail out of the mud and said, "Come here, little one. And why are you asking such questions?" "I want to know." "Come close, little one, for I am the crocodile." And he shed crocodile tears to show it was quite true. Golu was afraid, but he sat down on the bank and said, "You are the very person I was looking for. Please tell me what you have for dinner." "Come here, little one, and I'll whisper the answer to you," said the crocodile. Golu put his head down close to the crocodile's snout, and the crocodile caught him by the nose. "I think," said the crocodile, "today a baby elephant will be my dinner." "Let me go, you are hurting me, Mr. Crocodile," screamed Golu. The python, who had been quietly following Golu, came to the bank and said, "If you do not pull as hard as you can, the crocodile will drag you into the stream." So after seeing the crocodile, Golu started asking him questions. And the crocodile, we knew it is such a wicked, cruel animal. And crocodile was happy to see Golu because he can eat Golu. His Golu is such a small elephant, baby elephant. So now the crocodile is making the plan. Crocodile says to Golu that, "Come closer, little one, because I am the crocodile you are searching for." And Golu just wants to know what he will have for his dinner. And for answering this question, Crocodile says that, "Come very closer to him and he will whisper that in his ears." But when Golu just came nearby the crocodile actually turned extremely bad. He just pulled baby elephant towards him and said to him that, "Today a baby elephant will be my dinner." Then Golu started crying and said, "You are hurting me, Mr. Crocodile, just let me go." And the python, to whom Golu has asked this question, was quietly following Golu and came nearby the bank of the river. And now the python said to Golu that, "You just pull as hard as you can, otherwise a crocodile will drag you into the stream." Golu sat back on his little haunches and pulled and pulled. The crocodile slipped into the water, making it all creamy with great sweeps of his tail, and he also pulled and pulled. Then the python coiled himself around Golu's stomach and said, "Let's pull harder." Golu dug in all his four legs in the mud and pulled. The nose kept on stretching. At each pull, the nose grew longer and longer, and it hurt Golu. The nose was now 5 feet long, but it was free at last. Now, in order to escape from the crocodile, Golu sat back on his little haunches. Haunches means the buttocks and the thigh area together. And he just started pulling and pulling. But the crocodile was also doing the same. And due to his sweeps of tails in the river became creamy. And the python even helped Golu to save himself from this crocodile. The python just coiled his body around the body of Golu, and they were pulling together. And when the Golu was pulling, crocodile was also pulling. So due to that, his nose kept on stretching. And each pull, the nose grew longer and longer, and it was such a hurting experience for Golu. But at last, now the nose have grown 5 feet long, and it was free. Golu sat down with his nose wrapped up in a big banana leaf and hung it in a great grassy Limpopo river to cool. So, in order to reduce the pain, Golu just covered his big nose in the banana leaf and hung it in the great grass Limpopo river to cool. Golu sat there for 2 days waiting for his nose to cool and to shrink. It grew cool, but it didn't shrink. At the end of the second day, a fly came and stung Golu on the shoulder. Golu lifted his long nose, the trunk, and with it hit the fly dead. Advantage number 1, hissed the python. You couldn't have done it with a small nose. Try and eat a little now. Golu put out his trunk and plucked a large bundle of grass. He dusted it against his forelegs and stuffed it into his mouth. Advantage number 2, hissed the python. You wouldn't have done it with a small nose. Don't you think the sun is too hot now? Now we can see the benefits of having his long, big nose. Now the bulgy nose have turned into the trunk. Even Golu was just waiting that his nose will be back to normal state, but it wasn't. And in the second day, when a fly just stung him, Golu was able to kill him with his long nose, that is a trunk. And even he was able to pluck a large bundle of grass, and he was able to stuff it into his mouth. So these are the advantages. These were the benefits mentioned by the python. The python was wise enough and told Golu all the benefits of his long nose. Golu scooped up some mud from the bank and slapped it on his head. Advantage number 3, hissed the python. You couldn't have done it with a small nose. Thank you, Mr. Python, said Golu gratefully. I'll remember all this, and now I'll go back to my family. Very happy ending. So now the bulgy nose of Golu turned into a long and lengthy trunk. And with the trunk, Golu is able to do many activities he was not able to do before. And he just thanked Mr. Python for his good deeds and said that he will remember all these points, and now he's going back to his family. So this is a very sweet and short story written by the famous writer Rudyard Kipling. I hope you understood completely, and if you have any doubt, please do clarify the earliest. Thank you for watching.